all around the theme of children's literature. But first, we're going to have our prepared speech. Yes. Sorry, Michelle. I am thrilled to introduce Michelle
Banazwski.
Banazwski, thank you, who is going to be giving her number 2 speech, which is related to our theme of children's literature. How do you like that? And that was not planned. Michelle.
The topic of the speech today is Check It Out, the Influence of the Library on My Childhood. I was 5 years old, sitting on the sofa, bawling my eyes out. I was watching television, and a commercial came on. It was a television promo for a movie starring Johnny Cash, in which he played a man who was illiterate, and it depicted his struggles in society not being able to read. I started crying uncontrollably, pointing to the screen. That's me! I can't read either! I started kindergarten that fall with one goal, and that was to learn to read. Shortly after I learned to read, my mom took us, my brother and I, to the library where we got our very own library card. Now, you may think that 5 years old is a little young to be overly concerned with literacy. But according to the National Assessment of Adult Literacy, 2/3 of children who cannot read proficiently by the end of the 4th grade will either be on welfare or in jail. So childhood literacy is actually extremely important. But with my library card, I was allowed to check out an endless supply of books. And I would check out 10 or 15 books a week. My favorite books were Dr. Seuss and the Berenstain Bears. I loved the rhythm and the rhyme of those books, and of course all the pictures. But eventually, I could not check out enough books to last me until the next week because I was reading them too quickly because they were too easy for me. Which is when I discovered the Berenstain Bears Big Book of Science and Nature, which is significantly thicker than the basic beginning books. And this book was all about weather and animals and plants and basic science concepts. And I loved this book. I checked it out and I read it over and over again. I knew exactly where to find it. It was on the 3rd column, the 2nd row, the bottom shelf. So I would check this book out. And after a few weeks, you had to take it back to get it renewed. So I did have to bring it with me to the library, but I was allowed to take it back and keep it a little longer. Well, I would be so sad when the next few weeks came up because I had to give the book back. But then I discovered a secret. You see, you only had to wait 1 week until Mom took you back to the library. And then I would run to the 3rd shelf, the 3rd column, 2nd row, bottom shelf, and I'd pick the book up again. And I would check it out again, and renew it again, and wait 1 week and check it out again. So my parents quickly figured out that I was checking this one book out more than any other. So they wisely gave me this book as a Christmas present. I think that also probably helped some neighborhood children who could never find this book at the library. But I loved it. It was one of my favorite Christmas presents, and actually I still own this book today because it is still one of my favorite books. But eventually even this book became a little too easy for me, and I probably had it memorized. So I was looking at other books, and I didn't enjoy the other books. They didn't have the rhythm, they didn't have the rhyme, they didn't have the pictures. And so I searched for a new book for quite some time until I discovered a book of children's plays. So I checked this book out, and of course you can't just read a play. You have to experience the play. So I had a large area rug in my room, and that became the stage. And I took all of my dolls and stuffed animals off the shelf and lined them up on the back of my room, and they were my audience. Now, I couldn't do all the parks myself, but I knew every doll and stuffed animal. I knew its personality. So I was ideally situated to cast each of these animals and dolls into the perfect role for each play. And then I would actually block the play out. So I would read the stage directions. So if I needed a book, I'd put a book in the middle of the rug. And if they came in from stage left, I would make sure that they were on the right side of the stage to come in and act out this play. And I would act out many plays for my audience. Well, as I grew older, schoolwork took up more time, and I stopped reading. It wasn't that I was illiterate, but school took up too much time for me to read for fun. And I didn't start reading for fun again until I was in college. But I am very grateful for the public library and for all the books that I read and shaping my childhood. Because those Dr. Seuss books that I started with gave me the fundamentals I needed to do well in reading and to do well in school. And the Berenstain Bears book of Science and Nature was the first science book that I ever checked out. And it awakened an interest in science that I still have to this day, getting my degree in biology and then also becoming a physical therapist. And the plays and also books of poems that I checked out stimulated my creativity and my imagination. So I encourage you to support your local library and encourage any young children that you know to read, because it really does, it's of vital importance and provides so many benefits. Thank you.